This one is for the person who feels most like themselves the moment the door closes, the phone goes quiet, and it's finally just them. Not lonely, not sad, just, at last, alone, in their own space, on their own terms. Because there's a specific kind of person who doesn't just tolerate solitude at home, they crave it, they count down to it. And the rest of the world keeps quietly implying there's something a little off about that. Too withdrawn, too isolated, too much time by yourself. But today, I want to gently flip that story, because if you love being home in solitude, there is very often a real, and honestly kind of beautiful, psychology underneath it. And once you understand what your love of solitude is actually protecting, I think you'll stop apologizing for it. So let's talk about it. First, let's make an important distinction, because these two things get lumped together, and they really shouldn't be. There's staying home with the people you love, and then there's staying home alone, in solitude. This video is mostly about the second one. And to be clear, we are not talking about depression, or shutting the world out, or isolating because everything feels too heavy. We're talking about something psychologists sometimes call solitude crafting. Intentional, chosen time alone. Time you actively design because it restores you. That's a completely different thing from loneliness, and holding on to that difference matters for everything we're about to unpack. So where does a deep love of solitude often come from? For a lot of people, part of the answer lives back in childhood. Not always, but often. Maybe home growing up was unpredictable, the kind of place where you never quite knew what you'd be walking into. Maybe there was yelling, or the silent treatment used as punishment, or love that ran hot and cold with no warning. Maybe you found yourself walking on eggshells, constantly scanning for the next shift in the mood of the room. And when a child grows up in an environment like that, their brain adapts in a very specific way. It becomes a threat predictor. You get incredibly good at reading tone of voice, body language, the tiny flicker in someone's face that says a storm is coming. Psychologists call that constant scanning hypervigilance. And it's not a flaw. It's a survival skill your nervous system built because, at the time, you genuinely needed it. But here's the thing about a skill like that. It doesn't just switch off when you grow up. So you carry it into adulthood, into every crowded room, every meeting, every social event, quietly predicting threat that usually isn't even there, and that is exhausting. Which brings us to the quiet magic of being home alone. Because when it's just you, in your own space, there is no one to read, no tone to decode, no room to scan. For the first time all day, your nervous system gets to fully stand down. You don't have to predict anything. You just get to exist. There's a second layer to this too, and it's about stimulation. A lot of people who love solitude are simply wired to feel things more intensely. Maybe you're an introvert or a highly sensitive person. Maybe you're neurodivergent. Whatever the label, the experience is similar. Sound, light, temperature, other people's energy, it all comes in louder for you than it seems to for everyone else. And out in the world, you're constantly managing that, softening it, regulating yourself so you can function. But at home, you finally control the inputs. You choose the lighting, you choose the sound or the silence. You choose the temperature and the pace. You're not white-knuckling your way through a wall of stimulation. You're just comfortable. And comfort, real comfort, is genuinely hard to come by when your system runs on high. And here's where it gets tender. For a lot of people, being home alone quietly becomes a form of reparenting. If you didn't get much safety, predictability, or control as a kid, your home now can become the safe space you never actually had. A place where the little version of you finally gets to feel calm and looked after and in charge of their own world. That's why decorating your space exactly how you want it can feel so much bigger than decorating. If you want soft colors, or the things you loved as a kid, or a room that makes zero sense to anyone but you, that's not silly. Within reason, and with respect for anyone you share space with, it can be a real act of healing. It's you telling that younger part of yourself, you're safe now, and this time, you get a say. Solitude also gives you something else, room to actually be yourself. Think about the things you genuinely love to do. Reading, gardening, fixing something with your hands, getting lost in a favorite show, painting, knitting, rearranging a room for the 10th time. For a lot of people, those aren't just hobbies. They're a direct line back to who you actually are, underneath all the performing you do out in the world. And most of them are done best in solitude. Alone, at home, uninterrupted, is often where you feel most like the real you. Now, I want to name something heavier, because for some people it's part of the picture. Sometimes the love of home comes from having been hurt. If you've lived through something frightening or unsafe, the outside world can carry a low hum of danger that other people just don't feel. And in that case, home isn't avoidance. Home is a container, a place with a door you control, where your shoulders finally come down. And if a pet is part of that safety, that steady, uncomplicated comfort that counts too, that's your nervous system finding regulation wherever it can. There's also the simple fact that, for many people who love solitude, socializing is genuinely stressful, even when it's with people they like. If any part of you is socially anxious, then being around others means reading the room and watching yourself at the same time, hovering just outside your own body, monitoring every word. Of course, that's draining. And of course, home, where you can finally stop performing, feels like relief. And for some, there's one more route. Maybe you never had a space that was truly yours growing up. Maybe you shared everything, or your privacy got crossed, or your boundaries were treated like they didn't exist. If you never got to have a separate, protected self as a child, then creating that space now, as an adult, can feel almost sacred. You're finally giving yourself the thing you were always owed. Okay, so if home is this important, let's talk about why the space itself matters so much. Because it really does. Research has linked cluttered, chaotic environments with higher stress, anxiety, and even fatigue. And that hits harder if you're already someone who gets easily overstimulated. So an uncluttered, calm space isn't about being tidy for its own sake. It's about giving your nervous system less to process. Light matters too. Natural light helps regulate serotonin, one of the chemicals tied to mood and well-being. So if your space is dark, something as small as opening the curtains and letting daylight in can genuinely shift how you feel. And then there's sound. Ongoing noise, thin walls, traffic, a neighbor's dog, quietly wears on the body over time, and it can wreck your sleep. If that's you, things like a fan, a white noise machine, or earplugs aren't fussy. They're tools, especially because for a lot of people who've been through stress, sleep is precious and hard-won. And underneath all of it is maybe the deepest reason of all. For a lot of people, home is where they finally feel a sense of belonging and identity that the outside world never quite gave them. If friendships have been hard, if you've been through relationships that took more than they gave, then home becomes the one place that says, here, you're safe. Here, you're loved. Here, you get to just be. So here's what I want to leave you with, and it's a balance, held gently. Chosen solitude is not the same as loneliness. The research is actually pretty clear that solitude is most healing when you choose it on purpose, rather than fall into it. And it doesn't even have to mean staying in. You can practice solitude out in the world too. A meal alone, a movie by yourself, even 15 quiet minutes with a coffee. Sometimes that's all it takes to feel like yourself again. But hold the other side of it too. If your time alone starts sliding from restoring you into hiding from everything, if it comes with a heaviness, or a numbness, or that quiet whisper of what's the point, then that's worth paying attention to. Because too much isolation, the unchosen kind, really can hurt us. Loving solitude and needing some connection are not opposites. You're allowed to hold both. So if you're someone who lights up at the thought of a quiet night in your own space, please don't shame yourself for it. There is genuinely an art to doing the things you love, on your own, in a home you've made your own, and you get to make the rules. If this one felt like it finally put words to something in you, stay with us here at Deep Ravines Psychology Lab, where we keep decoding the quiet patterns that shape how you feel, heal, and recharge. Next time, we're going deep on hypervigilance, why some of us can never fully relax around other people, and how to gently teach a threat-scanning nervous system that it's finally safe. Until then, take care of your mind.